Once again, your old pal Eric Perfect's back with perfect tattoo history. And I'm with one of my oldest pals here, Mr. Dannyboy Sawyer, Dannyboy at Sawyer Family Tattooing in Amsterdam. Let's just get to the fucking meat of this shit, you know? How did you get started?
Fuck, man. Started on this as a kid, really. Me and my older brother Jay were really into tattoos as early teenagers. You know, I think I was actually no, before I was even a teenager. I was, I think, 11, turning 12 the first time he did a little hand poke tattoo on me.
Fuck you, all you guys are fucking tattooers.
Yeah, you know, we'd seen it in the movies and shit, American Me and Blood In, Blood Out, and you know, growing up in South San Diego, like, you know, I saw a bunch of homeboys with tattoos, and my parents hated it. You know, my mother.
So of course you had to love it.
Yeah. So it was cool. It was super cool to us, you know. If my mom didn't like it, my dad had a tattoo. He had one tattoo that he got before Nam. Our neighbor had a couple tattoos, and then my mom's brother is a homeboy, and he was always in and out of prison. And you know, as kids, we thought he had a bunch of fucking tattoos. You know, same thing with like Anthony Kiedis. When you were a kid, you thought he had a bunch of tattoos. You look back and maybe
when you have none, that's a fucking lot.
Maybe he had 7 or 8 or 10 spread out, but
that's
for us,
a lot. Yeah, that's a lot to a
holy
motherfucker
shit,
that has none. You know. Yeah.
So as a kid, fucking 10, 11, 12, 13 years old, that made a big impression. So yeah, I was about 11 when my brother did a first hand poke tattoo on me. Our very good friends of ours from South Africa, their grandfather, who was British, he likes to have his drink, and you know, he sat us around in a fucking little circle and told us basically how to do it. You know, he had a bunch of fucking hand poke tattoos that he got when he was a kid. So yeah, he was in World War II, so this would have been probably in the 20s when he got tattoos. So just fucking get a needle.
I mean, man, you were a fucking total piece of shit if you got a fucking tattoo.
Yeah. So that was that, and then in my early teenage years, my brother started hanging out at Mouse Shop, Mount Cathy, Madrid. And yeah, I got my first professional tattoo there in '93. So
really?
Yeah, I was 13. And yeah, it just kind of went
from there. What
year
is this?
What's that? 93.
93?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, they didn't have tattoo magazines in Spain. We moved to Spain when I was 11. We left California. My dad got stationed there, and yeah, we just loved it.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So, what was your introduction, your first introduction to like actual fucking real tattooing?
That would have been at Mount Cathy's.
Right.
Going to Mouse, being tattooed by a very young tattoo artist there named Robert Hernandez, who years later really became a big influence in the tattoo world in his in his thing that he does, Black and Gray's.
Look, you know, man, you know, he was one of those names that always fucking popped up internationally, you know, especially, you know, Hence conventions, you know, in the 90s and shit, you know, I mean, I remember seeing him back in the day, you know.
So back then there was still no tattoo magazines were sold in Spain, no books available, but, you know, you'd sit in a Mouse shop and you would see a sticker and it said fucking Tintins. Fucking Paul Jeffries, Jack Rudy's, and you know, the one that always stuck was Keep Home Beautiful. You know, get that dude, Hanky Panky's, you know.
That
so
fucking bumper sticker, dude, you know.
That was the fucking thing that really settled in my mind. And I met Hollywood when I was 15.
Now this is Hollywood Mark, who also tattoos here and who had previously tattooed at Hank's shop in the Red Lake district.
Yeah, so Mark is really one of our oldest friends in the business. You know, 22 years, something like that, 21, 22 years.
Sure.
And yeah, I would just tag along with him sometimes, and I'd run into him at a bar, or, you know.
Now, how did you meet him originally?
Well, through my brother, through my older brother.
Yeah.
My brother's 4 years older than me.
And which brother is this?
Jay.
Chris was JJ?
Yeah, so Chris wasn't into tattooing at the time. He would hang out a little bit, but yeah, in Madrid, you could go out to a nightclub at 16. I was 14, 15, but you know, if I saw the doorman, if he recognized me as being Jay's brother, or if I spotted Hollywood, then Hollywood would just say, "Oh, this kid's with me." You know, he must have been in his early 20s or mid 20s probably. But yeah, so I started hanging out with him So yeah, that was my earliest introduction to tattooing.
Shit. Yeah, look, man.
I didn't see Tattoo Time or NRD or anything. It was just fucking rock and
Just
roll.
all the motherfuckers that you knew.
Yeah.
You know? When I first met you, I remember seeing your stuff, and you were nowhere near the point you are today. And that's for
good.
fucking sure, okay?
It's good. Nowhere
I
near the
remember
point I'm
saying
going to be in 20 years from now.
Of course. My thing was this, and this is what I love fucking seeing in tattooing. And that's a young fucking cat like you getting it. You know what I mean? And going after it and fucking chasing it. And I talk about this in almost every one of these fucking interviews. And that's where you fucking get the sickness. Where you fucking chase this day and night, every fucking day of the week. It's everything to you. And that's what seemed to fucking happen with you, to where when Bill went to Chico and you were out there and fucking all you guys were fucking together. I mean, like when you were fucking hanging with him, man, that's when I saw your shit really fucking change. And it was like a switch went off.
I don't know if I have a disorder, what the fuck it's diagnosed as or whatever, but as a kid I always liked baseball cards and football cards and this shit, and I was always like kind of nerdy in a way, but not a geek, but like I was very anal about shit. And when I started getting into tattoos, like, of course we were into the Homeboy stuff, Jack Rudy, Black and Gray, Robert Hernandez, and then I met a guy named Michael Kim, who is known as Chino in the tattoo world, and he was a huge influence on me and both my brothers. And he told me one day, he goes, listen, before you do anything else, you got to get the basics down. You got to know traditional tattooing, and that comes down to eagle, dagger, snake, rose, skull. Get those 5 things down.
Absolutely.
And almost 20 years down the road, I still haven't gotten them down, so that's how come I'm still there. But once I got into that, once you told me that was in 99, I think I met Lucky Bastard that year, or 2000 it could have been, I'm not sure. So he became a huge influence also. And yeah, I just dove into traditional stuff, and from when I met you, it was like really focusing on the oldest possible shit. And by that time, okay, we had New York City or Flash from the Past, those books, and I was really focusing on copying that shit. Tattoo Peter when I came to Amsterdam, and whatever was in Thousand Tattoos, Tattoo Ole or
of course,
whatnot. And then once I met Bill, 2004 maybe, 2004, 2005, another switch went off. I met,
absolutely,
the first magazine I purchased myself was when I moved to Florida, and I saw Gibson's work, and I was really taken by that. It was Gibson and Mike Wilson, the ITA. And
that was an awesome issue.
Yeah, I think there's a picture of you in there, Molly, Amsterdam Convention.
There was a picture of me. I was in Miami, and I was getting this big fucking pinup girl tattooed, and there's a picture of me. And I was fucking eating pretty good at that time. My fat ass and tighty whities hanging out, this big ass fucking devil girl pinup that he was doing on me.
So I had seen that stuff, but I still, when I saw that as a 17 years old, 16 maybe, whatever, it still wasn't for me. But there was something that kind of registered in my brain. And then I met Bill and Chico, and yeah, I was fucking like, dude, this is the man,
absolutely.
Right away, I had maybe something on the side of my hand, but like I knew I wanted the top of my hand from him, and I really liked his stuff. And then, but even then, still, I didn't dive into his shit yet. It was when I moved to Forever, which would have been 2006, I think.
Those guys, a fucking solid fucking crew there.
I love those guys, and really, I think one of the best artists
of
my generation. And Brent to me is the guy of my generation. Ian was the floor guy back then, but those guys had kind of done their own thing already. They'd taken Eric, Sailor Jerry, but they kind of had their own look. And I was already tattooing for about 6 years, 7 years maybe, so I didn't really want to fall into that. Maybe it was my pride or whatever. I was just like,
You're looking for something different.
It's fucking badass, but it wasn't my thing. So I looked at Bill, and I said, well, fuck, that's contemporary tattooing contemporary traditional tattooing from the late 90s.
Well, it was like at this level, and then when Bill came into it, it got to this level.
Yeah. So it was really focused
especially with him and Inksmith and fucking Gibson and those guys. Like those guys fucking brought it up to that next level for sure.
I didn't know Inksmith's work back then. He never published a lot. So back then it was focusing on Dave and fucking Bill. So I got into that style. Later on, I started seeing tattoos from Inksmith on you, on Mike Hooligan, on fucking other guys I would meet. And then once I saw that issue, what was it, Tattoo Artists?
Yeah.
That was the first time I really saw his work, and I was like, holy shit, yeah, it's the same thing, and he was probably doing it. He was probably a big influence on Dave.
Eric's work is like a fucking stamp.
Yeah, it's Malone, it's that whole...
Well, that's definitely one of his favorite artists, for sure.
Yeah, it was Malone and Bob Roberts and everything, but because I had a direct connection with Bill, that was kind of like the way I wanted my tattoos to look. But being from California, it had a little bit of Dave's.
Well, for sure. I mean, you could definitely see. I mean, your stuff. Hank used to say. I remember, man, I was really busting my ass to get fucking nice clean tattoos and shit like that. And this is what he told me. He said, "Your tattoos are as slick as snot on a doorknob." And I think you definitely have that going on for you. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of rough edges to your shit, dude. Your shit's real fucking clean. It's solid. It's bold. Everything, the black's where it's supposed to be. The color fucking complements it. I mean, that to me makes a strong tattoo, and I think you fucking get that.
Things I can't just. I don't feel comfortable just staying there. I get bored easily, and very early on, I've always had a fascination for world cultures. The only shit I ever liked in school was history and geography. So, the Polynesian stuff I loved early on, like fucking Paulo Salape or Maori stuff, and I didn't really know about it, but I loved it. And Japanese tattoos, and fuck, I was struck by everything. But I always knew that it had to look a certain way. When I met Hank, he kind of tied it all together. Working with him, I realized that
there's no one that studied more.
At the end of the day, it's all the same. The guys, we all kind of came up in the same way, and even if we speak different oral languages, our art still comes from the same source, and the technique is actually not that fucking far apart, and the imagery symbolizes the same fucking shit.
Absolutely.
So that was one thing that really I connected with a lot of people instantly. I love doing Japanese stuff. I love doing Polynesian stuff, even though I don't understand it as much. But yeah, I like doing.
You know how to make a clean fucking tattoo. That's for sure.
That will last. That look powerful. That look strong.
Of course.
And
so you meet Hank, and Hank kind of takes you under his wing a bit, right?
Yeah.
And then what starts happening? Where does it start going with Hank?
Well, before Hank, I really think that the big fucking change in my career was moving to Sacramento. Before that, I was already tattooing for about 6-7 years. And I was too caught up in a bunch of shit.
So you're in Sacramento. And what's our tattoo? You're tattooing 6-7 years at this point.
So before meeting Hank, I would say that the first big change in my career was after meeting Chino, of course, was moving to Sacramento. That's when I had my son, and I'm working with guys my age that were fucking light years ahead of me, and I had to step up my fucking game. Try to anyways.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
I look like a total fucking dickhead.
Yeah. So that I spent 2 years there.
And if you didn't, fuck, you're probably relegated to doing shit tattoos or getting kicked out of the shop and being sent somewhere else.
Yeah. And I love the guys because I'm sure I should have been kicked out. But that's family. And we spent 2 years there. At a certain point, my wife is from here, and I hate to use the term expat because I was never a patriot to begin with.
Right.
I don't belong in the States, I belong here in Europe. So we moved back, and right away I hit it off with Hank from the beginning. Me and Tigo were already friends when he spent time in San Diego. So the plan was to move here the plan was not to move to Amsterdam. The plan was to have a little layover here for about 3 months with my wife's family on our way to Italy. Those 3 months ended up turning into 10, 11 months, almost a year. Because I kept calling David and Milan, I'll be there in 2 months, I'll be there in a month.
Look, man, being able to fucking hang with Hank, that's not an opportunity you want to fucking give up.
No,
not many people get that opportunity, and you're gonna fucking learn shit.
Yeah, that was ultimately the man I wanted to work for. Once I got to know him, it became a lot more personal, especially as time went by. He stopped being my hero and became more my uncle, a godfather. I don't like saying my dad because I have my father and
but a mentor for sure.
But definitely he became my mentor, and we moved to Italy, but my mind was always here. So every 2 months I would fly my baby at the time, my son and my wife, and we would spend 2 weeks here. 3 weeks we would spend the whole summer, 3, 4 months at a time. And when he called me up and said, hey, the museum is going to happen, I need you to move here. Yeah, I told David, I said, I'm sorry, but I got to go. And he goes, of course you do.
Look, you're talking about once in a lifetime.
Yeah, and he knew that, and he's really been one of the people who has supported me the most as well.
Right, he's a fucking fantastic fucking tattooer, man.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Fuck. And he could draw his dick off. So, I mean,
really
so
amazing.
between there and fucking coming here, I mean, you're not doing so bad.
No.
And then being where you previously were, I mean, dude, you got a sterling fucking education.
Yeah.
You're pretty much hitting the Harvards of fucking tattoo fucking knowledge here.
I always like to say that, with all these tattoo schools and fucking bullshit that goes on, I got a fucking,
this is the education.
I got a fucking bachelor's from fucking Hanks, or
doctorate.
This
shit's a fucking, it's a doctorate, man.
Yeah, so that's where we're at. We're no fucking masters. Hopefully in 20, 30 years from now I'll be able to say that, but.
Well, you're well on your way, Daniel.
But Italy was great. We spent 3 years there. That's we worked with some incredible fucking people there. John Maurizio Pencioni, also through Davide, who's really one of the 3 masters of Italy. I spent time in his shop with my dear friend Pepe in Viareggio, who I think is
very good tattooer.
Also one of the best of my generation, and not very well known, but that's
known enough. You know what I mean? Known enough to make a fucking living. And when it comes down to it, you're not doing this for your health either. You know what I mean? This ain't a fucking hobby.
Yeah.
It's not a weekend gig. Like I said, this is 24 hours a day, 7 days a fucking week.
Yeah.
You know that more than anybody does.
Well, I try to keep it at 6.
Well, listen to me. That 7th day, you're still thinking about shit.
Davide showed up today.
It's still in the fucking back of your mind, and you know it. So.
Davide showed up today in like a proper Italian system. You're open on a Sunday? Well, I didn't go to mass today, but.
Listen to me. Those Italian assholes only work 3 fucking days a week anyway. So fuck you, okay? You know this, all right? We're talking about something completely different here.
All right.
Okay?
Listen,
you got a fucking wife and kids.
Yes.
You got fucking shit going on. You got to work.
Yes, sir.
So that's the fucking bottom line when it comes to that shit. So the museum opens. How fucking amazing was that fucking joint?
That was a once in a lifetime fucking thing. And you know what?
There's never been anything of that magnitude in the fucking world.
And there probably never will be.
Let's not say that just yet.
Well, you know what? Unless there's a second coming of Hank, and you know that it, you know, or maybe he can still do it in his lifetime. I don't know. He has my full support always. But no, what he
you know who it's up to.
What he pulled off was incredible. Anyone that was there at that fucking opening knows what it's about. It was really, really one of the most monumental days in tattooing, I'd say. Ever. So we had a good run. We did a year. It was super fun. Hank.
Then the bullshit started, and then Hank explained all that. So there's no need to go
into all that. But you know, so Hank asked me to move for the museum, and he asked me, goes, who should we get? Well, first guy on my mind was Chris.
And this is Chris Stanley.
Yes.
Rest in peace.
Yes.
God bless his soul.
That was the #1 guy I knew that we needed to get anything cracking.
And he had already, you know, I mean, look, they knew each other. I mean, you know, he was out at the Masters, and he was already kind of working in the shop. And
had worked for Hank. He'd spent time in Italy with me. He had kind of had like a temporary leave from forever. You know, they had to let him go, and he would come back. But yeah, I called him up and said, dude, we're doing this, and we need you to move here. And of course I called Brandon and Elon and talked to them a bit about it. And yeah, it wasn't easy because he was one hell of a fucking tattooer, you know.
Never a dull moment with that one.
Never. So, so Chris was the first guy we needed on board. Yushi was in a very transitional period in his career from the style of tattooing he did.
Oh, absolutely. Me and him would work the Philly convention together.
Right.
He was just ready to make that fucking jump.
Yeah, so he was kind of between, you know, he had worked at Hank's, and he was doing a particular style of Japanese tattooing, and you know, he was telling me one day he was between moving to London or New York. I said, well, fuck, dude, you should move to Amsterdam. Spend time with Hank. It will influence you, you know, in a good way. You know, I don't think he knew at that time, like, that was the direction he was going to dive in. And I'm not saying, like, I fucking knew, but I had...
Well, Hank put his foot up his ass, for sure.
Well, at that time, really, there wasn't too many people doing that old style Japanese. Now, I see it all the time on fucking Instagram. A lot of guys have gone to the old
like that fucking Kazuma-gori fucking look, you know what I mean?
A real fucking knucklehead style.
Yeah.
I like that, you know, but no one was into that shit back then.
That's like the Coleman style of Japanese.
Exactly, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So, I told you, I said, fuck, just move to Amsterdam. Spend time with Hank, you know, and of course, Hank doesn't do that style of tattooing, but just being around him and getting...
But Hank knows what direction to put a motherfucker into, though.
It looks a certain way, you know, and you dove straight into it, you know, and he's doing fucking beautiful
It's amazing what he's doing now.
But you know what, at the end of the day, like, I look at it and I look at what I do, what other guys do, and also I'm like, yeah, I want to see what we're going to do in 20 years. That's what it comes down to, you know, what are we going to be doing 30 years from now? You know, too many people are trying to fucking be insta famous or fucking masters now.
Yeah, it does it. Yeah, I think that's the fucking point. And for anybody watching this, there's no fucking shortcut. Bottom line, there's no fucking shortcut. It's you get with the best of the best. You do what it fucking takes to get to that level. And there's no fucking shortcut.
Yeah.
There's no 2-week fucking course. There's no 6-month course. There's no 2-year fucking course. This is a lifetime journey of understanding what makes the perfect tattoo, and you're always chasing it, you know, and you're always trying to do something different. I mean, if you're not, you're fucking up. You know what I mean?
That was one thing that like Yushi told me from a Japanese perspective. You know, you gotta be into something 30 years deep. You gotta be 60 years old before you even consider a master of your craft. You know, so
That's the truth.
he has that understanding, and once he told me, it made all the fucking sense in the world. It's like, yeah, fuck yeah. There's great artists, there's great journeymen, you know, you can call it whatever you want, that are on their way. Some drop out before they make it, you know.
A lot.
Some stay in their niche and don't fucking grow. But I think when you stick to a traditional path, then you'll get
The whole foundation for this craft is found in the tradition.
Yeah. Trends will come and go, but style remains.
Yeah, that foundation is never gonna fuck it. It's always gonna be proven right.
Yeah.
Bottom line. So you go, you know, you do the museum, you move here, museum's fucking kaput.
Yeah. Well, during the time of the museum, I think it was actually when you came one time, and we were talking about Philly and Crazy Eddie shop, and I'd heard from Mike Tweed about these guys, Tom and Jerry, that had worked there for forever or whatever, and it kind of like, I thought about it, and I was like, fuck, are we gonna work for someone else forever? And talked to Chris about it, and then me and Chris kind of talked to Hank like,
But you gotta understand with Tom and Jerry. Here's the thing with Tom and Jerry though.
okay,
Tommy Nat built all those machines for Eddie.
All right.
And he got to do whatever the fuck he wanted to do.
Right.
You weren't telling Tommy what's
Yeah.
what. Tommy's telling you what the fuck is
Okay.
what. And they ended up buying the shop from
Okay.
Eddie anyway. But anyway, I understand what you're saying.
I've
Yeah.
never been to Philly, I don't know those guys,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it was just like,
I
it was the
understand.
idea of like,
Yeah.
fuck, you know, as much as Chris was a part of forever, at the end of the day, it was Brendan Neal's, and that's it. You know?
Sure.
So, where were we gonna fucking put our time that we would have something that's ours? Because during the museum, as awesome as it was, people don't realize how much time we spent going out for dinners, fucking going to bars, entertaining motherfuckers, you know, that shit's fucking expensive, you know? So,
It ain't free.
so we came up with the plan that, you know, maybe we can have a shop of our own in town and still work at the museum and rotate and still do our own thing, but we could build something of our own. So Hank had actually given us our blessing to do that, but we looked around a little bit, and one day Chris ends up going to Hawaii, comes back and tells us he was going to get...
So he ended up getting Sawyer Jerry's old joint on Hotel Street.
Yeah, well, he went to Hawaii and he came back and he said, yeah, you know, they was going to get Malone's old shop, Jerry's old shop, and we were like, yeah, you're full of shit, that ain't going to fucking happen. Sure enough, it did. So, he had his own thing. And I was like, fuck, I still don't fucking have anything.
Yeah, you're like, what am I gonna fucking do now?
Yeah, still fucking do this.
I got a wife, I got
Yeah.
a fucking,
Yeah.
you know, I got
Yeah.
a kid, I got, you know, I got fucking bills coming out my ass.
So the museum closes, and he's in Hawaii, and we stuck around for another year. We would have stuck around for as long as we needed to, but you know, Louise was sick, and just the morale was gone, and usually had split. Dan was doing his own thing also, and yeah. So basically, I told Hank, I said, you know what, like it's time that, you know, I take care of my wife and my kid, and you know, we can basically pack up and move somewhere, or we're gonna do our own thing here. And no, he supported us and gave us the blessing, and well, we're here now. So,
And how long ago is this?
well, that was 2014.
Mm-hmm. So you got a good 3 years in here, right?
Yeah, we're going on our third year. And yeah.
And you guys get the fucking best of the best throughout the world that roll through here and tattoo here. You know, you got a good fucking life here. Where do you see yourself, shit, 5 years from now?
Fuck, I don't know, about 5 years, probably still here.
But what do you see for yourself? What do you see, you know, where do you see your growth at? What are you shooting for?
Still learning, and we're very blessed that Bill just came on board.
So now you have, so this is only a few weeks ago, now you have Bill Loika working here, who's
Yeah.
been a main influence of yours.
Yeah, Bill's been a mentor and one of my biggest influences from very early on in my career, and Yeah, about a month ago, he called me up and said, you know, he was down at Tattoo Peter's, and he needed a place. I said, well, fuck, we'll make it happen.
So I wanted to take basically one of the coolest shops in Europe and sissify it. So it's time for him to go.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the long and fucking short of it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get into all that,
I will.
but no, everything,
You know what I mean.
everything works out for a reason, and you know what?
I'm sure the old man's clicking his fucking heels every day going to work now. You know what I mean?
Bill could have been here from day one. We're all super happy and supportive and very, very.
So, you know, in your journey, I mean, look, you have a young kid, you got him drawing, and to be honest, man, a kid that of his age, his drawings are fucking amazing. You know what I mean? And that's from fucking hanging out with the best guys in the world and having his old man, you know, being a world-class fucking tattooer. And his mother fucking tattoos, and she's a fucking really good tattooer. And you taught your old lady how to tattoo.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
One thing I swore I would never do.
Yeah, but you know what?
But
It's also
TC's different, you know? TC's
Yeah.
a different,
And-
she's a completely different fish when it comes to
and a lot of guys said that, you know, and it has its fucking logic, but Hank was actually it was, I hate to say it in a certain way, but no, it was his idea, and he was a big influence, and Hank always worked as a family, and you know, he was always inspired by the Lou family and the way they function, and he had seen her drawings and basically said, you know what, she should be tattooing also. So,
Sure.
well, if he fucking says so, then that's that, you know, I've always kind of had that army mentality with him.
Of course, he's the fucking gospel, you know what I mean?
So,
You see where I mean,
I-
what he's done in his career.
I started teaching her. I'd never taught anyone, so that was still kind of hard. But they came to visit us in Italy, and yeah, she hadn't tattooed yet, and you know, he said, well, fuck, tattoo me tomorrow. So she did her first tattoo on him, and then
He loves that.
yeah.
He's got Angus's first tattoo as well.
Yeah. So that was that, and then yeah, as far as David, who knows? Who knows what he'll choose? You know, it's his.
Yeah, he's
it'll be
into
his
it now.
choice.
I mean, fuck, 3 years from
It'll
now,
be his
he
choice.
maybe
But
could give a shit
one
less,
thing
you know?
that's for sure is, you know, he does have, I think, a natural ability, and I don't think he gets that from me. He has this real spontaneous way to draw, and that was really Hank sitting him on his lap when he's 2 years old and fucking just drawing pooping elephants, fucking dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Well, here's your fucking
Yeah, well,
rhinoceros.
listen, that's the
And
funniest thing
draw
to get is
I
groups and
really
farts,
paint,
you know?
yeah, I trace my shit and then I'll fucking paint my flash. But you know, I have my books, but to just have the hand to go, I would say he gets that from him. You know, Titi is a hell of an artist, and she'll make her sketching, she'll make her drawing, she paints, but to grab a fucking Sharpie and go, like, there's no in my fucking jeans that's doing that. He picked that up from Uncle Hank.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, okay, yeah, I mean, it's obvious you love tattooing. You're in
Oh.
love with it.
Before you ask, let me get another beer.
Okay.
Can I get you one, Eric?
No, I'm okay. So it's obvious you love tattooing, but if you had to pick one thing about tattooing that you love the most, what would you say it is?
Family.
It's the relationships you
Yeah.
develop,
Absolutely.
that you could fucking be stuck in the middle of somewhere, in the middle of fucking nowhere, and you could pick up the phone and say, who's in this fucking town?
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you're A, working, B, you're fucking staying somewhere, and there's someone there to help you out. You know what I mean? And it's not nothing that you wouldn't do for someone else, and you haven't done for someone.
I love the, I hate the word industry.
It's not, it's the craft is what it is.
It is an industry. Luckily I got into it before it was an industry. It was a business when I got into it, but because both my brothers were in this.
Well, when you have a shop, it's a business. Okay?
Sure, I run a business,
Yes.
but I really hate the industry.
The industry part's bullshit, and you know it.
I don't like
and
that.
I know it.
But, you know, both my brothers tattoo. and my wife, my sister-in-law is learning from Harry, who's my mentor and my little brother's mentor also. So we have that, and then just the guys that I've met on this journey, you know, that do not fall under any fucking bullshit hashtag that you can find on the internet, because we're from fucking hand pokers from Japan.
Absolutely, it's a different breed
Guys
of fucking
from
person, man.
Polynesian guys, homeboys, punk rockers, indigenous people from Mexico, from
Yeah, I mean, you know, like some days, you know, I'll look.
you.
Yeah, I mean,
Fucking
look.
lucky. I mean,
like,
we're,
you know,
really the UN, and that's very rare when you go to a fucking convention nowadays. Even take London or Paris or anywhere else.
You know, the
everyone
fucking
sees-
dickheads on fucking TV don't represent us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
But not necessarily. Look, man, Oliver's a dynamite tattooer and shit like that, and you know he's doing what he's doing. God bless him. But I'm talking about these contestants and shit like that that are on the fucking shows and like those fucking tattoo nightmares and every offshoot stupid ass show. That does not represent fucking real tattooing. You know?
But even then, real tattooing. I don't know, Eric. What is? We can get really philosophical on your camera, you know. But what I'd say is, our family and we consider you very much a part of it.
Absolutely,
So,
I do.
we're
You're my
speaking-
fucking
we're
brother.
speaking
And that's,
fucking-
yeah.
3, 4, 5 languages in the shop. Motherfuckers are showing up from Greece, from fucking
Yeah.
Italy, Mexico, fucking Japan,
Belgium,
yeah,
fucking, I mean,
Luxembourg,
you know,
the States, and everyone is still. On the
Everybody
same
can
path.
communicate.
Yeah, of course, we speak that.
We don't speak the same fucking verbal language, but we speak the same
Yeah.
language.
Yeah.
You know.
And our tattoos fucking speak for themselves.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, listen, with that being said, we'll come back and revisit this in about 10 years. Hopefully I'll still be alive and you'll still be alive, and we'll have a lot more to share at that point. But I'd like to thank you for everything you've done for me, and I'm sure it's likewise, obviously. And thanks, brother.
You've
Thanks
been-
for taking the time.
You've been a huge inspiration for me, Eric.